Imagine a particular kind of silence that only exists in places once defined by deafening noise. It isn't the silence of an empty room, but the heavy, specific quiet of absence, the sound of a space where people used to gather, spend, desire, and dream. This is the silence currently spreading across Dubai. For decades, the emirate operated as a retail mythology, a city seemingly immune to economic gravity, where the world's most powerful luxury brands didn't just open shops, they planted flags. Dubai was proof that aspiration, if packaged correctly in a climate-controlled mall, could be sold to anyone at any price. But on February 28, 2026, the mythology was shattered by a wave of Iranian retaliatory strikes that targeted parts of the United Arab Emirates, including a massive drone and missile offensive that sent smoke rising over Palm Jumeirah and caused chaos at one of the world's busiest aviation hubs. Within minutes, the foundation of Dubai's success, its image of absolute safety and connectivity, was broken. What you are about to witness is the structural unraveling of a city that was supposed to be unbreakable, where luxury brands have retreated, high-end resorts are liquidating rooms for less than $100, and the world's most iconic hotel, the Burj Al Arab, has seen its facade scarred by fire. This isn't just a news report, it is a deep structural analysis of whether Dubai has reached a turning point it cannot simply build its way out of. The departures from the retail sector started quietly, but accelerated into a rupture. In July 2025, West Elm Middle East posted a carefully worded goodbye, closing its Dubai Mall flagship for good, followed shortly by every remaining location in the UAE by December. Even the high street wasn't safe, as British staple River Island exited in late 2025, followed by the definitive end of the department store format in the Gulf with the final withdrawal of Debenhams. A brand that had survived for 247 years globally finally ran out of places to exist in Dubai because the artificial life support provided by franchise infrastructure could no longer justify the cost of the world's most expensive real estate. As we move from franchise collapse into the unraveling of global luxury mythology, the numbers become even more sobering. Gucci, a brand that is more of an idea than a label, saw its stores in Dubai Mall and Mall of the Emirates go dark in March 2026 as the military conflict escalated. While the closure was framed as temporary, it arrived on top of a pre-existing crisis where Gucci's parent company, Kering, had already seen a 54% share price erosion over 3 years. When the Gucci store is dark in Dubai, something irreversible happens in the consumer's relationship with the brand. The illusion of permanence is broken. Balenciaga faced a similar fate, trying to rebuild a house while the neighborhood itself experienced an earthquake. These luxury houses had concentrated their risk in the Gulf to compensate for a slowing China, only to find the region more geopolitically volatile than their expansion models assumed. But perhaps the most shocking signal came from Apple. On March 3, 2026, Apple closed its stores in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Apple does not hold clearance sales or post farewell messages. The Apple Store is the most protected retail asset in history. When a $3 trillion company decides a city is not safe enough to sell iPhones, the damage to that city's image as a safe, neutral hub is deeper than any other brand closure could communicate. This disruption isn't limited to physical storefronts. It has compromised the very circulatory system of modern Dubai commerce. Amazon, which had become the infrastructure beneath the entire retail ecosystem, was forced to partially shut down in March 2026. 3 of its UAE data centers were reportedly damaged by drone strikes, and its Abu Dhabi fulfillment center was closed. This meant that both the physical malls and the digital fallback systems failed simultaneously. The impact was felt most acutely by the working-class residents who relied on the platform for basic medical supplies and household essentials. Meanwhile, the world's largest luxury conglomerate, LVMH, watched its highest-spending zero-discount customers disappear overnight as Gulf shopping malls reported demand declines of up to 70%. LVMH shares fell 27% from the start of 2026, losing over €100 billion in sector value. Dubai had built its luxury identity on the assumption that geopolitical instability happened nearby, but not here, and that assumption was violently tested and found wanting in a span of fewer than 18 months. The crisis has trickled down to the very streets in the form of automotive graveyards. By early 2026, more than 25,000 luxury vehicles, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and McLarens, sat abandoned across Dubai and Sharjah, their combined value estimated at £3.5 billion. New supercar sales crashed 92% in a single quarter. This isn't just about careless owners. It is a systemic event where 1 in every 10 supercars registered in the city now sits unclaimed in a police yard or airport parking lot. The used market has cratered, with values plunging by 65%. Many of these cars were financed with 100% loans and zero down payments, a norm that turned into a trap when the conflict hit. Under UAE law, defaulting on a loan or selling a car with outstanding finance is a criminal offense. When employers began downsizing and visa renewals were denied, thousands of expatriates were forced to choose between staying to face potential jail time or fleeing the country and leaving their keys in the ignition. Banks now face write-offs exceeding £2 billion as they struggle to auction off a flood of repossessed exotics in a market where no one is buying. The tourism sector, which contributes 12% to the UAE's GDP, has seen its biggest strength, connectivity, become its greatest vulnerability. Dubai sells certainty and perfection, but when 189 ballistic missiles and over 900 drones targeted the region on February 28th, that certainty vanished. Terminal 3 at Dubai International Airport was temporarily shut down, grounding thousands of flights and stranding 20,000 passengers. Cruise ships were forced to remain docked because outbound flights were unavailable. Within just 7 days, hotel occupancy in high-end areas like Palm Jumeirah fell from full capacity to below 20%, with some reports suggesting single-digit occupancy in extreme cases. This disruption wiped out the final and most profitable part of the peak tourism season, leaving businesses that rely on 6 months of earnings to survive the summer in a serious cash flow crisis. Nearby properties are now in a price war just to maintain a presence. One-bedroom suites, once priced at nearly $300, are being liquidated for less than $200, while some hotels offer stay and dine packages where the room is effectively free. The impact on the British expatriate community has been particularly massive, creating a ripple effect back to the UK economy. Approximately 240,000 Britons live in the UAE, and they account for 12% of all Dubai property transactions. As missiles hit the Burj Al Arab and the Fairmont, these residents began a mass exodus toward the Omani border, paying £500 for a seat in a shared van just to escape the grounded airspace. But the real financial crisis waits for them at home. Under the UK's 183-day tax rule, any expatriate spending more than 6 months in Britain during a tax year is automatically classed as a UK resident. This flips their global income from tax-free to fully taxable overnight. For families who fled in March, every day spent in temporary accommodation counts toward that limit, potentially triggering 6-figure tax liabilities on their Dubai property or business interests. British buyers are now scrambling to sell off an estimated £5 billion in assets, but with banks slashing loan-to-value caps to 50% and buyers disappearing, many are trapped in a liquidity freeze. The two most famous symbols of Dubai's grandeur, Atlantis and the Burj Al Arab, are not immune to this new reality. Atlantis, the palm, which once symbolized a city with no limits, has been recently surrounded by social media reports of quiet hallways and empty pool decks. While it remains a popular destination, the opening of massive competitors like Atlantis the Royal has shifted the balance of attention, and the resort now relies heavily on promotional packages to keep its 1,500 rooms filled. More significantly, the Burj Al Arab, the sail-shaped icon of 7-star luxury, saw its psychological guarantee of safety cracked when fire broke out on its facade during the February 28th attacks. Although the physical damage was limited and operations resumed, the image of the world's most exclusive bubble under threat sent a shockwave through the high-value traveler market. These travelers have endless alternatives in Europe or Southeast Asia, and even a small dent in perceived safety can redirect millions in tourism flows almost instantly. Dubai is not abandoned, and it remains too strategically positioned and wealthy to simply disappear. But it is at a crossroads that 50 years of continuous growth had allowed it to defer. The crossroads is where every city eventually arrives, where the model that built its success must be fundamentally examined and rebuilt. The franchise model, the mall model, and the model of geopolitical neutrality have all shown their limits simultaneously. The question Dubai must now answer, without the comfort of the next flagship opening, is whether what we are witnessing is a temporary disruption or a permanent transition to a new, more uncertain era. The stores that closed and the cars left at the airport are not just individual stories of failure. They are the punctuation in a longer sentence that Dubai and the global luxury industry are still writing. As the region navigates this military and economic crisis, the world is left to wonder if the city that was built on movement and certainty can survive a world that is suddenly standing still. What do you think? Is Dubai in a state of crisis or a necessary reinvention? And would you still prioritize it as a safe destination today?